Atlanta's most comprehensive television news service. With Jackson Bain and Jim Axel, Guy Sharp with the weather, Tom Boyd on sports, and Paul Reynolds with Contact 5. Now for News Scene, Jackson Bain.
Good evening. Here's what's happening. The Joanne Little murder trial is over. The 7-man, 5-woman jury returned a not guilty verdict today in Raleigh, North Carolina. She was on trial for the stabbing death of her jailer, Clarence Alligood. Throughout the month-long trial, the black woman maintained that Alligood had tried to rape her and she was merely defending herself. The jury spent less than an hour and a half coming up with that verdict, but it doesn't mean her legal battles are over. She's still waiting on appeal on an earlier conviction of breaking and entering. And one of her defense attorneys is in trouble, too. Judge Hamilton Hopgood sentenced Jerry Paul to 14 days in jail for contempt of court. Paul was charged with creating a disturbance in the courtroom during the trial. When the verdict was returned this afternoon, the courtroom remained quiet, and Joanne Little never looked up as the not guilty verdict was read. James Earl Ray, the man serving time for the murder of Martin Luther King, Jr., was taken out of solitary confinement today. Ray had been in solitary since his conviction in March of 1969. Jim?
Fulton County Superior...
Well, they're still trying to find out exactly what caused that mass food poisoning in Atlanta last night. 70 women were rushed to 2 Atlanta hospitals with the illness after they attended a convention luncheon at a local restaurant. All of the women have now been released from Grady and Crawford Long hospitals. This afternoon, I talked with the head of Fulton County's food section, Eddie Ransbotham. He told me the lab work isn't complete on those food samples from the lunch the group ate yesterday, but he also said that indications point to a staph type of food poisoning from the chicken salad the women ate. The women ate at Anthony's restaurant on Piedmont Road. Well, U.S. Congressman Larry McDonald of Marietta is being sued for over $3 million. The suit charges that McDonald is guilty of malpractice in the treatment of cancer patient John Scott, who later died. The charges are also against Doctors Memorial Hospital, where the man was treated. Former gubernatorial candidate Hal Suit has been hospitalized. The doctors say it's for treatment of old injuries that keep cropping up and causing him trouble. Suit lost a leg and received some shrapnel injuries back in World War II, and he's had a recurring battle with a bone infection. He ran on the Republican ticket for governor against Jimmy Carter back in 1970. Well, coming up on tonight's TV5 News Scene, Southern Belle wants an 11% rate increase. I-75 was sweetened up this afternoon by a sugar truck. MARTA general manager says there won't be any big cost overruns. Contact 5 helps a woman who doesn't have a place to park. Jeff?
Emergency medical help may be only 3 digits away.
As TV5 News Scene reported last night they would, Southern Belle went back to the Public Service Commission today to ask for another rate increase. It's for $46.3 million, or an across-the-board increase of around 11%. The residential rate request would be about 10%, but there's a catch. Southern Belle wants a 20-cent payphone call, and if they get it, they'll reduce that residential rate increase from 10 to 8%. If they don't, it'll mean the average home rate would jump from $9.75 to $10.80. The Metro Emergency Medical Service is really just 3 numbers away from reality. But there are some problems from several angles, and a new one is the possibility of an increase in payphone rates. TV5 News Scene Sharon Summers says starting that service is going to be a slow process.
The increase of payphone rates from...
This just into TV5 News Scene. Police tell us an unidentified employee of the stop-and-go market on Roberts Drive in Riverdale has been murdered. They say he was taken into the back room of the market during a holdup and shot. When the police have just gotten there, a TV5 News crew is on the scene, or on their way to the scene now, and we'll have a full-filmed report on that tonight on TV5 News Scene at 11 o'clock. Heart disease kills 1 million people each year, and if you've ever wondered what your chances are of having a heart problem, well, the answer could be as near as a telephone. That's thanks to a new computerized system that can calculate in seconds a person's risk of developing heart problems. Today, TV5 News Scene's Paul Shields talked with Steve Barnes. He's the man who developed the system. Chastain Park was the scene this morning of a muscular dystrophy marathon. It was the start of the teenage division of the Jerry Lewis Muscular Dystrophy program, and basketball was the action. The team players were sponsored by local businesses, and TV5 News Scene's Art Bradley played host. The Youth Division NB program continues tomorrow. A fishbowl will be provided at Broadview Plaza for contributions, and WGST Radio's Skinny Bobby Harper will be on the scene to liven things up. Well, all of us at least have heard of the 10 Commandments, and a few of us try to live by them, I suppose. But for the folks who do business around Central Presbyterian Church downtown, an 11th commandment has been added to the original 10. News Scene photographer Mike Carlin noticed the addition painted on something that's a lot less than a tablet of stone.
FLYNN FLYNN TV5 News Scene.
I got some stuff I'd like to send down
Good thing he doesn't have a dog. If he put a doghouse out there, he'd never find it.
That's true.
You ever been in the doghouse?
Never.
Never?
Well, hardly ever.
Being in the doghouse isn't really all that bad if you happen to be a homeless canine living at Atlanta's Humane Society. And life's going to get a little better for man's best friend with the addition of the Society's future 105-dog compound. Groundbreaking ceremonies held this morning at the Howell Mill Road headquarters. Daisy, the Humane Society's mascot, did the honors. Hard hat and all, Daisy dug up a patch of dirt to get things on the road. The estimated cost of this new doghouse, $43,000. Most of that raised by the Women's Auxiliary at their fundraising occurrence last spring. Project should be finished, by the way, by October 10th. Jackson?
Well, all week long we've had what can justly be described as glorious weather, right? Right. Now comes the weekend, and now comes the bad news. Right, Art?
Why do you say that?
I just have this feeling that something is going to disastrous is going to
likelihood for some scattered showers floating through the area, but it's still going to be sunny and hot.
Nice.
Yeah, right. It'll probably be a very, very nice weekend, but have an umbrella around just in case, all right?
You are one of the neatest optimists I've ever seen.
That's the only way to fly.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot,
Right.
Art. Still to come on tonight's TV5 News Scene, the MARTA General Manager says there will not be any cost overruns. And coming up next, Contact 5 helps a woman who doesn't have a place to park her car.
Every day with my finger.
The first black-run legitimate theater company has recently found a place to perform. TV5 News Scene's Quentin Bradford attended a rehearsal for their first play in their new home.
I have